Let's talk about these sneaky thoughts that sound totally logical but actually mess with your connection. They are called cognitive distortions. And when you're anxious, these distortions run wild. Your brain tries to protect you but ends up trapping you in fear and doubt. You read between the lines, you hunt for problems that might not even exist, and you spin stories after a simple text or tone change. If you don't spot them, they keep whispering lies that sound like truth though. So let's name them to soften their grip a little bit, to give yourself a way out. By the way, this is part 2 of a cognitive distortion series. In part 1, I discussed other cognitive distortion, other lies you're telling yourself. So check this episode out before as well, or after this episode. By the way, hi, I'm Yula. I'm the Anxious to Secure coach, and welcome to the Anxious to Secure podcast. Disclaimer, I'm not a therapist or a doctor. This content is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to diagnose, treat, or heal any mental health condition. If you're in an abusive relationship or dealing with severe mental health challenges, always seek professional advice. Cognitive distortion number 1 is personalization. This must be my fault, or I caused this. You blame yourself for things outside of your control, especially if your partner is distant or quiet. For example, he hasn't texted back, so I must have done things wrong. Or she seemed off on the phone, maybe I annoyed her. He cancels plans, maybe I'm too much or pushing him away. So consider this instead. His behavior might say more about his own stuff than my worth. Or I'm not responsible for how he feels or what he does. Ask yourself, what part of this is really my responsibility here? What might be going on for him that has nothing to do with me? Cognitive distortion number 2 is negative filtering. You zoom in on bad and ignore the good. So you focus on what's missing or what's wrong, and you forget all the love and effort that's actually there. For example, he said he loves me, but forgets to ask about my day. Or we had a great weekend, but he didn't say good night yesterday. So he held my hand but didn't, reply to my I miss you texts. So consider this instead. Is it possible he loves me and sometimes misses little things? Love isn't perfect, and that's okay. Ask yourself, can I see both the good and the bad here? Are there any gray areas? Would I say this to my best friend who only saw negatives? What else could be true? Number 3 is control fallacy. That sounds like I have to fix this or it will fall apart. So you feel responsible for managing their feelings, their relationship, or preventing pain. It's very exhausting, right? I've been there. It might sound like I have to keep him happy or he might even leave. If I don't stay calm, she will get upset and pull away. I'm the only one who can stop this tension. What if you would think this instead? I can only control my own feelings and actions, which will create then my results. It's okay to let others handle their emotions too, even if it's hard, even if it's uncomfortable. Ask yourself, what's actually my responsibility here? How can I focus on what I can control and not everything else? I can't control their thoughts and their emotions and their actions, but I can control my own. And how can I practice letting go of what's something I can't control? Before I share more about the cognitive distortions, let me tell you about how you can get some extra support from me if you want. If you tried therapy before and feel stuck and discouraged, this might really hit home for you as well, because of most of my clients have been actually in therapy. They've done the therapy work and really worked hard on themselves, but still don't feel like they've gotten where they wanted. Sometimes it's because they haven't found the right therapist, or they haven't really, found anyone who really understands them. Or maybe you felt judged or not truly safe in sharing everything. And to be honest, I get really angry and even sad when I hear this from my clients when they share their negative experiences from before, because I'm an extremely empathetic and sensitive person myself, and I cry over everything so easily. So let me be clear, that's not how my sessions are, okay? You are never too much in my sessions. You're always more than enough. And you can bring anything to me, no matter if it's about attachment theory, relationships, worries, doubts, anything that comes up. And you will be always, welcomed with love and empathy and understanding. And while I can also gently point out your blind spots, right? But in a way that's really supportive here. And coaching and therapy are, two different things. Therapy is often more can help you with deep trauma, healing deep wounds that really has to be fixed first if you have been going through deep capital T trauma experiences. And coaching is more for those who have done some healing work already, who are ready to take focused action towards transformation now. If you have been experiencing big traumas or heavy past stuff, you might still need therapy alongside coaching, or at least have done your therapy before. But if you're ready to move forward and take accountability for your part and try out new things that we suggest, like new tools like breathwork, journaling, communication, and rewiring your subconscious mind, especially practice what we talk through in our coaching sessions. Coaching could be the exact thing for you. And honestly, therapy sometimes doesn't work because it's mostly talk, right? It's talk therapy, but we can't think our way out of deep feelings. We have to feel them and release them. That's why I use somatic tools as well with my clients, like body scans, processing our emotions, energy releasing, right? Rewiring our nervous system as well, not just talking about relationships or how we can stop overthinking. Because I don't just want to talk with you about your past. I give you really real tools you can try between the sessions. That's why there's always usually 2 weeks between each session, so you have enough time to practice these without pressure, without overwhelm. And your transformation depends really on how much you use these tools repetitively, even if it's just like 5 minutes every day. And many people also ask me, why did I become, or how did I become secure in like 6 months only? And if it's just a fake story or if it's actually true. And to be honest, like I had my I am done moment, just not just once, like a few times. And I did the work daily, even if it's just like 5 or 10 minutes of journaling work of, I was listening to my coaches and doing everything they have suggested. I didn't just say, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do this in 2 weeks or 1 month. I did it every day. I showed up and I was very coachable, meaning I was very open-minded for what they suggested. And that's why I think I became secure so fast, because I took 100% accountability and focused on what I can control, on what my partner should do, because I knew it was bigger than just my current relationship. So, and I'm still with my avoidant and attached partner, and I get the struggles, the anxious thoughts and the hopes and all of the messiness and the doubts. And if you only work with therapists who seem to give you these textbook answers, it's because maybe they haven't experienced what you are experiencing. Like, I can always recommend you go with someone who has been experiencing something similar towards you, because I have also experienced cognitive behavioral therapy from a therapist who had no idea what I've been going through. And I really felt like, yes, she was giving me the right tools, but because the lack of understanding was missing, I wasn't able to really apply them, because I didn't really understand how they were helping me. Later on, when I actually learned cognitive behavioral therapy for myself, it was because I learned it in a way that it was actually making such a huge impact for me, because I learned from someone who has been there. So yeah, really go with someone who you can empathize with and who had a similar journey, rather than someone who had like 10 credentials more than someone else. So if you would like to, check out my courses, or especially my one-on-one coaching offers, just check out the links below the YouTube video or the show notes, because this might be your next step going forward and moving through this and creating an earned secure attachment style, the most empowering thing you can do for your relationships, for yourself, for your self-worth, and it will impact all areas of your life. And for all or nothing thinking, this is me in the after editing session. I completely forgot to name the title of this new cognitive distortion. So that's why the audio is a little bit shitty. So I'm sorry. So maybe telling yourself either it's perfect or it's a disaster. There's no middle ground for you. One mistake, and this means it's a total failure. If she doesn't understand me fully, she's not the one. Maybe he forgot your birthday. So you're going to tell yourself he doesn't care about me then. If I'm not completely secure, I'm completely failing, and I'm not be able to become securely attached. I'm not able to heal. But maybe consider this instead. Love is messy and imperfect, and that's completely normal. I can feel anxious and still be healing. Ask yourself, can I allow room for mistakes and growth? What would it look like to hold space for imperfection? Just a little bit more right now. And distortion number 5 is, I know how this will end. And guess what? It will end up badly. So you predict the worst and believe it's inevitable before anything even happens. So he's going to leave me eventually. I just know it. Or she lost interest, but it's just too polite to say it. Or they're quiet today. Maybe they're just falling out of love. But what about if you would consider this instead? I can't know the future, and it's not my job to check it either. I can only check what's happening right now. I can check at all the facts and then jump to conclusions based on these facts only. Maybe there are other reasons for what I'm feeling. Ask yourself, what evidence do I really have for this prediction? How could I hold space for a different outcome? And these patterns are very common if you have an anxious attachment style, but they are not who you are. They're just stories in your brain tells you when you can feel safe and when not. When you spot them, you can soften them and you can rewire into what's actually going on. And then your fears quiet down and love gets louder and security as well. So which distortion do you notice most in your relationship or in your everyday life? Comment underneath the YouTube video. And remember, as I mentioned in the last episode, track your cognitive distortions for just 7 days. Then challenge them. Notice what else might be true here. This is how you rewire your anxious attachment on the cognitive level. And remember, change in your relationship starts with you, thought by thought and action by action. And now episode by episode, lots of love. See you in the next one. Lula, bye bye.